What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Dust Smith channel. In today's video, we're going to be respringing the front forks on my YZ250. Now, if you're wondering how to respring the rear suspension as well, I have a full video actually showing you the rear and the front, but I just got a new microphone and I've been playing around with some camera settings, so I'm wanting to make a new video, and I haven't resprung this bike, but I did make a YouTube video respringing one of my other YZ250s that I've had in the past. So I will leave that video linked in the description box down below, so you can go check that out if you'd like. In today's video though, we're only going to be respringing the front, so we're going to go ahead and pull the front wheel off, pull the brake caliper off, pull the fork guards off, and pull these front forks off the bike. You want to wash your bike before you do this. Mine is a little bit dirty, but I'm going to wipe the forks down once I get them off, but you want to work with clean forks whenever you do this. Let's go ahead and get into the install. We're going to go ahead and start by breaking loose the front axle. It's a 22 millimeter. Once you've got that broke loose, then you can go ahead and get you a 10 millimeter and take off the pinch bolt. Now the pinch bolts, you just have to break them loose. You don't have to pull the bolts all the way out. All right, now that we've got the pinch bolts broken loose and the axle nut removed, we can go ahead and push on this front axle and slide it completely out and remove the front wheel. A little tech tip, go ahead and put your axle nut back on your axle, and you can even slide that through the wheel and it'll hold your wheel spacers and you won't lose your axle nut. So next up, we're going to go ahead and remove the fork guards. Using a 4 millimeter Allen, go ahead and remove your lower fork guards, and this is something that's way easier to do once the wheel is off, so don't try to do this first. Now on this side, we also have the brake line bracket. You can just leave that on because that's going to stay on the bike with the front caliper, which will be what we remove next. Now using a 10 millimeter, go ahead and break loose the caliper bolts. Once I have the caliper removed off the bike, I'm just going to go ahead and thread these caliper bolts back into the caliper, just so we don't lose those. We are ready to remove the forks off of the bike. Using a 10 millimeter, we're going to go ahead and break these triple clamp bolts loose. And these are kind of like the pinch bolts on the front axle. You don't have to remove the bolts completely. We're just trying to break them loose and back them out a little bit. And now we can go ahead and twist on these and remove them out of the triple clamps. Now we're going to repeat that same process on the other side. Using a 10 millimeter, break loose the triple clamp bolts, and once you have those all four loose and backed out, you can go ahead and remove the other fork. All right, my beautiful wife just brought me out some food, so we'll be right back. I'm about to absolutely tear this up.
Many hours later.
All right, now with your fork in a bench vise, you're going to want to go ahead and take your fork cap tool. You can pick these up at Rocky Mountain, and we're going to go ahead and back this all the way off. Okay, so there's that. And that's broke loose. The fork oil is inside of this, so whenever we flip it upside down, we will need to go ahead and drain the fork oil into a drain pan. Now, we're gonna go ahead and take a flathead screwdriver. Go ahead and back your rebound clicker all the way out. Now we're gonna go in with a 17 millimeter. And now we're gonna take it off of the bench vise. Depending on what tool you have, this one right here has the correct end on it. So we're gonna just take our hand right here and push down, and then that's going to capture that. So now with your tool in here and that pressed down, it has that captured, and we can go back in with the impact and an open end, and we can actually hold this with a 15 millimeter open end right here, and we can actually remove that. So then we're going to be left with this right here. So go ahead and set that to the side. We're going to go ahead and pull out rod right here, and now we can push back down on this and pull that tool out. And now, exactly as we are, we can slide the fork tube up and we can pull this out, and then that's going to separate. We can go ahead and pull this spring off and install our new spring. We are going to be setting the preload, but first we have to check the preload. So we do have some preload shims right here. Usually I go in with at least one. You're going to be checking these with the calipers. One preload spring, and I'll go ahead and drop it on the new fork spring. And we go right back on. Now I will try to link a video in the description box down below on how to set your spring preload. So now we've got it back together and we're running 4 millimeters of preload on this setup. So now what we're gonna do is go in with some 5-weight oil. This is 5-weight maximum fork oil, and this is 11 ounces. So you can play around with your fork oil amounts. I pour 11 ounces into the mixing cup, and then by the time you actually pour it all in there, you have just a little bit under 11 ounces, and that's always worked fine for me. Once we've got the 11 ounces in, it's time to then twist the cap back on and tighten it down. The bottom nut or the bottom bolt, like where the rebound adjuster is, the 17 millimeter on the bottom of the fork is 40 foot-pounds. If I remember correctly, I'll correct it on the screen if that's wrong, but I believe it's 40 foot-pounds. And then this has an O-ring around the top, so you just go snug and then a little bit more. And if you don't have soft jaws on your bench vise, you can put this back in the bike, like just hold it and get it snug off of the bike, and then go ahead and put it back on the bike, tighten it up with your wrench after it's installed back on the bike. This will definitely get your camera equipment, all of your microphones, everything like that, super oily. I definitely see why there's not a lot of people that are doing it on YouTube, for sure. So now the forks can go back onto the bike. And I'm gonna go ahead and set the fork bleeder screw to the front. I'm gonna then measure the offset, how high the forks are in the triple clamps, and set that exactly where I want it. We're gonna run 5 millimeters on this setup. We're gonna go ahead and get our torque wrench out, and we're gonna set it to 15 foot-pounds of torque, and we're gonna go ahead and tighten up these pinch bolts. I like to do all 4 of them just a little bit. All right, so the bottom clamp is done. I usually hit torque spec 2 or 3 times. From where this one's electric, I can watch this torque wrench. But if you have the clicker kind of torque wrench, I just do it like twice. But I can watch on here digitally and make sure that I don't go over 15. There's one fork done and set in the correct position. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and repeat the same process on the other fork. Thank you for watching today's video. If y'all enjoyed it, please get down there, hit that subscribe button, drop me a comment, leave me a like. I also do riding vlogs here on the channel of different motocross and trail riding places around Kentucky. So stay tuned for that. And we'll be going to Georgia later on this year to Durham Town Off-Road Park, and I'll have a couple videos from there. Follow me on all my socials, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, all Justin Hawk Smith. Always remember, everybody starts out as nobody, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.